afternoon, everyone, and a very warm welcome to the Go Green Now educational webinar series. I'm your host, Ella Nicholas, and we are thrilled to have you with us today. In today's episode, we are focusing on an industry that touches almost every office and business, yet often flies under the radar when it comes to waste: printing consumables, from toner cartridges to inkjets and all of those essential supplies. Joining me to shed light on the challenges and, more importantly, the groundbreaking solutions in this space is Chris Fink, the Managing Director of Effective Consumable Solutions. Chris has been at the forefront of remanufacturing and recycling within the consumables industry, and he's here to share how his company is turning a massive waste problem into a sustainable solution. Chris, it is wonderful to have you with us today.
Yes, I'm pleased to be here. How's it going, Ella?
I'm really good today, Chris. How are you?
I'm fantastic. It's a fantastic green day as it's St. Patrick's Day, so let's celebrate that as well.
Absolutely, it's always good to hear. So, to set the stage for today, let's just dive straight into the problem part of our theme. For many, a toner cartridge is just something that you slot into a printer and replace when it's empty, with very, very little thought given to where it came from, how it's made, where the empty one goes, or where the new one will come from. Can you paint a clearer picture of the scale of the environmental challenges that your industry is facing?
Yes, I can, Ella. Unfortunately, there is a lot of cheaper products that come into the UK marketplace, which are Chinese products that unfortunately have to be treated to stop them from going into landfill. And where ECS comes into play is where we treat everything in-house. We have one of the largest collection programs throughout the UK, so that we can treat the cartridges that come back and, more importantly, deal with the ones that are not good for the environment.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And that obviously is such a stark reality and such a massive challenge. So you mentioned that has been the norm for decades. Can you share some data-driven insights to help our listeners, many of whom come from the sustainable sector background, to truly grasp the magnitude of this problem? Like, what kind of statistics are we looking at when it comes to landfill rates, lack of UK recycling, and the sheer volume of the single-use Chinese imports?
Well, what I can give you an example is that here at ECS, on the greener side part of the business, we take in over 2,500 cartridges a day. That's an immense amount of cartridges that come into just our operation. That's not considering how many cartridges are already out there in the marketplace that don't get treated correctly. Unfortunately, we're running out of landfill sites. So the fact that ECS is at the front of everything, an award-winning business where we take care of that pain for our customers by doing the correct thing and making sure that it goes down the correct paths.
And that is absolutely incredible, especially pushing that to the forefront of ECS. So from that, this is going to bring us onto the core of from problem to solution and the remanufacturing revolution. Chris, can you please tell us about ECS and ECS the greener side? How are you and your team directly addressing all the challenges you've described with your complete one-stop closed-loop solution, specifically through remanufacturing and responsible recycling?
Well, here at ECS, we have a remanufacturing facility. So when the cartridges come back to us through the largest collection program, which is my greener side, we would deal with the waste, audit it. So we go into great detail of auditing everything that comes back from one of our collection boxes. Then what we would do is treat the percentage that's no good for us, or we will broker it on if we don't remanufacture it ourselves to feed the engine of the business. All these key requirements need to be done on a regular daily basis, and we're ISO accredited to make sure that we do this absolutely spot on every single time. But to be honest, remanufacturing is where the core of ECS is. It's what we do extremely well. Our performance products outperform, in some cases, the OEM or original products, but we like to gauge ourselves on matching the exact specifications, and using the original virgin cartridge makes it better for flowing and performance issues with our absolutely spot on formulas that we put to put the ingredients together to make the perfect product for our customers, because reliability, sustainability and performance is key for ECS.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Do you think you could expand for myself and our listeners today on what would you gauge as an average number of toner cartridges and printing consumables that you save from landfill each year?
Oh, to be honest, Ella, it goes into getting near to the 1 million mark on cartridges that we receive. You know, it's a
Yeah.
great amount of products that we receive that we cannot use ourselves and treat. You know, so we have to make sure that everything goes into the right path so that it doesn't go to landfill, which is a job in itself. That's why we have the equipment here to shred, clean and prep product that we can't use ourselves, and then we have the facility, a factory that deals with the cleaning of the product, making sure that the original cartridges that we can use to feed the engine of the business here all work to 100% performance, the same as the well, it's the same as the OEM, as we would call it.
Perfect. Thank you. And then, if you wouldn't mind, could you tell us a little bit more about your material recovery pathways?
So material recovery pathways is a process that we would look at finding the best solutions. I can't go into great detail on all the pathways because we have exclusivity agreements with some of the big companies that are researching how to use what we can provide through stripping down of some of the products that we can't reuse ourselves. But everything is absolutely does not go to landfill, which is the core of the business. You know, the climate change and everything else that's on the news every single night. We have to make sure that the products go to the correct place that they need to go to and not go into landfill, which is the core of what we do here. We're not just about using the items that we can reuse. We also have a responsibility to the environment and to everything for the planet to make sure that we find the correct path for all the components and items that we collect through our award-winning collection program.
That is absolutely incredible. So, on that topic as well, obviously, ECS, the greener side, is based around receiving back and recycling those toner cartridges, all of your printing consumables. Would you necessarily say that that includes WE waste as well? And, do you specify in any specific WE waste?
We specify in all different types of WE waste, to be fair. Our WE waste normally comes back on pallets, but it can be in the collection boxes. So we deal with the fuser units, the drum units, and all the components that come back through a photocopier. We also have a collection program that collects IT equipment as well. We all have paths for all of these items to make sure that they don't go into landfill, which is a key thing. And the greener side has all different services that people can sign up to look at to see that, make sure that it doesn't go down into landfill, and we can find it the correct path to where it goes to next, which is all about where we need to be to save the planet.
Perfect. That is absolutely incredible. And then obviously you mentioned earlier you're nearing or just over saving around 1 million items from landfill each year. Now, obviously that is an incredible and definitely measurable impact and such a holistic and inspiring approach, which really does put ECS as the leader in this critical space.
Yeah, I mean, to give you an insight, you know, the Environment Agency do random spot checks on all companies that deal with waste, and you know, if you're going to do it correctly,
Yeah.
it has to be audited. We're probably one of the only companies, so from what the Environment Agency tell us, that where they go to do an audit, you know, everything is itemized into the detail through our award-winning software that we have running alongside our green greener side programs. So the detail is there. The
Yeah.
Environment Agency are used to going to sites where it's just piled up in one great big heap, or there's no identification of what products have come back. As we go further into the future, we do believe that digital traceability will be the way that the Environment Agency, will be identifying the waste paths in more detail, because we can't have people just fly tipping and not having a responsible way to deal with the waste.
Yeah, obviously. And so you mentioned you have this in-house software that you use. How does your in-house software at ECS help your clients?
It gives them full audit reports on what gets returned through the collection program. So every client has a recycling box, or they send waste back to us with the waste. What we do, as much as we provide waste transfer notes to make sure that it's absolutely above board, is make sure that they have a full audit detail breakdown of all the items that come back through the boxes and through the pallets. This gives a full description of each of the cartridges, so we know whether it's a Chinese product that's come from far, far away, or it's a product that's been manufactured by the OEMs, and then we can probably use it, and that sort of detail, really.
Perfect. Wonderful. Thank you so much for that. And then we're just going to touch back onto the remanufacturing process for a minute there, Chris. Can you tell us slightly more in depth about how you specifically do it at ECS and what you found has worked best for you over the years?
I think as markets change, our unique selling point, or our unique points, are that we are a remanufacturer in the UK, which is, as we know, is a battle in itself, for the fact that, we're not producing goods or remanufacturing in a far, far away country where labour costs are a lot cheaper. We also, with this fact, reduce the carbon footprint for a lot of our customers. So a lot of the Atom software reporting can give carbon footprint reports on as well. So this makes us a more of a professional choice when people are trying to reduce their carbon footprints. They want an environmental circular loop product, because, people who buy our products will put it into the recycling bin, and then it'll come back to us and we'll reuse it again. It's the full circle, and that's what makes us an award-winning business. And if you look at some of the awards we've won, it's for remanufacturing worldwide, and it's for doing the best thing for the planet, which is important.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say that should be at the forefront of every business, especially in this climate currently. So obviously, ECS prides itself on reusing those materials and remanufacturing those consumables. What is your own view on reusing materials in general?
It's always been the same, for many, many years, even before ECS evolved. I couldn't understand why people would buy something halfway across the planet, bring it here, and then it get chucked in a bin. So the philosophy has always been the same: is that we should, make the most of what we've got when we use a product. If it can be reused, it should be reused. We're starting to see that in marketplaces now. When you switch on the TV, there's programs where people want to reuse old furniture and old items. It's exactly the same here, in ECS, and it's always been the same. We should reuse what we can, because these are good quality items that have been designed well by the OEM manufacturers. And then if they can be reused, then we should do, instead of just putting them into landfill. And that's the whole point.
Yeah, of course, absolutely. And then, so obviously, we have a much wider sustainable audience here with us today, coming from multiple different sectors and backgrounds. So, can you share more on your experience in working in an industry that is not traditionally environmentally conscious?
I mean, to be green, there is always differences. There are a lot of options on being green. Is it cost effective? Is it the right choice for some companies? I think you've got to continue getting the message out there, because it is what's right. And like I say, for many years, a lot of people would probably think that we were crazy, because we were at the front of this many years ago, that we could see that this is the way it would have to go eventually. Obviously, there's been a lot of pressure being put on people and businesses and companies with climate change. Everyone puts on the news and they see flooding and stuff like that, and people have started to take notes. There's a lot of greenwashing. If it's one thing we do at ECS, we invite everyone to come and see our facilities from start to finish, to show that we don't greenwash. We say what we do. We're very transparent. We're absolutely spot on with what we do with our ISO accreditation and auditing processes. So it is a big challenge to be in this marketplace, but at the same time, it's a fantastic marketplace if you can make it work, and more importantly, you can get your message to your customers.
Yeah, obviously, and it is obviously incredibly rewarding to work in such a sector. So, on that note, what would you say has worked best for ECS to go ahead and win these numerous awards on your products and recycling services?
I think it's the feedback from our customers, because our customers have tenders with large government organisations, etc., hospitals, and so on. And to know that our products are going into some of these key areas of everyday life is important, and it gives me that
Absolutely.
that lovely feeling, the fact that our products are hitting where it should be, and more importantly, people are using them and reusing them for endless amounts of time.
Yeah, and obviously that is incredible and must be such a rewarding feeling knowing that your client's feedback has pushed you to get this far. So, Chris, obviously we have a very engaged community listening to us today. I just have one question for you to start with. And that is, as a business completely dedicated to helping other businesses go green and carry on through the sustainable pathways, how does ECS internally act on your own sustainable morals within your operations? So, beyond the cartridges themselves, what other internal green initiatives can you share that demonstrates your commitment?
Well, I'll give you an example. We have clients come and visit us all the time, because people want to see an environmental business operating. And there's some parts of the business that are dirty areas, as I would call them, because dealing with some waste, and I'll be honest that some cartridges, have to be treated as waste, especially some dangerous inks and so on. So we really take pride in what we do, and the staff take pride in what they do, and the staff really are rewarded by the fact that our customers come and see us, and the customers come and see us. And that's nice to get the feedback from the staff as well, to show that, because sometimes when you're working in remanufacturing in other areas of the business, the staff don't get the feedback that we get on a day-to-day basis with dealing with the customers face to face. So when the customers can come and visit us, they see that the products that they're working on, and they're spending all this time and the attention to detail that's going into them, it gives them great feeling inside, and an emotion, the fact that they're making a difference as well. And I think that's where you see that being environmentally friendly as a business can make a difference even to your employees.
Yeah, absolutely. And then along the same lines for our viewers today, what issues are you seeing in the wider environmental business landscape at the moment?
I would say there's always going to be the case of people greenwashing. There's so many companies that say they do stuff and they don't. And it's one thing at ECS, we're very transparent. That's why I say all facilities are open for anyone to visit. We don't hide anything. We're very transparent about what we do and how we do it. So that's the key thing. I see so much in the news and in advertising on the internet, where companies portray to be doing something, but when you follow the path and you see that it's not going to the path where it should be, and it ends up in landfill, I think that's where it really hurts me to see those businesses that are just trying to make a quick buck.
Absolutely. And then for our viewers along the line of environmental business landscapes and all of the struggles and hardships it's facing at the minute with greenwashing, etc., what small piece of advice would you give them, or some words of wisdom, having been in the industry for so long, that can be applied across all sustainable industries?
I think the key thing is to just keep in there. You know, you'll go through tough times. There's no doubt about it. There'll be ups and downs, and being green, sometimes the businesses that you'll be dealing with will not be focused on their green activity. They'll be more bothered
Mm.
about cost saving. So I think that's the advice. Just hang in there, keep at it. You'll come through in the end, and you'll get the awards. And that's the key thing. That's the key bit of advice I could give.
Perfect, thank you. And then obviously looping back around to the fact that sustainability is deeply rooted in ECS itself and how just reassuring that is. How do you think that your membership with Go Green now as the Sustainable Business Directory, how has ECS benefited from this, and how do you hope to benefit in the future?
Well, I hope that Go Green will become the a go-to place platform for everyone who wants to be absolutely spot on with a company they're dealing with that's absolutely got the same green credentials as ECS and the greener side,
Yes.
because that's where it has to be. There needs to be a go-to place where people will go to as a reference point to know that the companies that they're dealing with are transparent and they're not greenwashing. So that's what I would say on that.
Thank you so much. And then obviously we've mentioned greenwashing a lot today through various different topics. How do you feel that this is going to be tackled as a specific hardship in the future? Obviously, it is a lot easier now with AI to generate things, etc. And how do you think that is going to be limited and managed within the sustainable industries?
It's going to be tough. You've got to do your homework. But if you do your homework and you protect your business and your customers and find the right
Mm.
companies, then that's the battle, without a doubt.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And then obviously one topic that we hear more and more about is the disposal model. What would you have to say about that?
Um, Look, I think there is a world out there that has to be dealt with in the correct way, and I think we should all keep to that model that suits every business and so on. We have to be transparent, and more importantly, we have to do what's right for the planet.
Yeah, absolutely. And then obviously, what is the most traditional is the linear economy. And it is so vital and so impressive how ECS is changing that to becoming a circular economy leader. So, from that, what do you think will be next for ECS in the ever-changing sustainability climate?
I think with the close work that we're doing with the Environment Agency on digital traceability, I think the waste paths that can be digitally traced will be the way forward that we're working towards, because I think at some point there will be the case of when you take a toner cartridge or a fusing unit out of a machine, there'll be full digital traceability of where it's going to be treated. And I think that will apply to all products eventually going forward if it's some sort of consumable.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. And then obviously you are in quite a wide industry. What would you like to see change within the said industry in general, and what are you hoping for across the board in the future?
I think here at ECS, the more awareness we get of our products and what we do in the UK, being a UK based company, reducing the carbon footprint, we want to get the message out even more, because I'm a great believer in we shouldn't be shipping products from halfway across the
Yeah.
planet. If we've got a good product here in the UK, more and more people should use it, and more people are using it. And I think that's the message that should be made perfectly clear, and we get out to the masses. And that's what our mission this year is to do, and we're well on target to do that.
Perfect. And obviously that is an absolutely incredible mission to have, and the fact you're already well on target so early into the new year is incredible. So for our viewers here today as well, Chris, how do you think that we can further support UK businesses upon their sustainable journey?
I mean, that is a tricky question because, it all depends on what industry they're in. I think the main message is to, if you know a sustainable company or a company that is green, I think if you try and use their products, I think as individuals, we should try and do that more. But getting
Absolutely.
the message out there is the key thing, spread the word.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Chris. You have been absolutely insightful today. I don't think we could have started this educational webinar series off with anyone better. So for those listening to us today, this is your chance to send in any Q&A questions that you might have that I can hand over to Chris. Well, it seems like we covered everything then today, Chris.
Good. I'm
That
glad.
could have been
I'm
a
glad I got
question.
the message across.
Yeah, I will give it a minute just in case anyone comes up with anything or they have anything very specific they're waiting to ask. So, any other words of wisdom for us, Chris? Those just starting out in the sustainability sector, how would you propose that they work their way up and gain the credibility that is needed?
Just think about how you're going to pass the planet on to your children. That's the key thing.
Absolutely. Children, grandchildren, and so on.
Do the right thing.
That is always the aim, especially within sustainable businesses.
Okay, well, lovely to speak to you, Ella.
Yeah, well, that seems like it is everything, Chris. It was wonderful to have you here with us today, and obviously everyone that tuned in to listen. It was wonderful to have you here, and I hope to see you on our next educational webinar. If you would like to know any more about ECS or Go Green Now ourselves, you can see that all of our contact details will be pictured on the screen there for you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you,
Have a great
Chris.
day.
You
Bye.
too. Bye bye.